Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
Networking gets a bad rap. People think of networking as this, getting out there and glad handing and making hardcore sales with people. That's how people look at networking. And so people, they don't like it for that reason. And they really associate it with business. And much of that is true, but networking really touches on lots of things. And one of the things I have found with respect to networking is I see not-for-profits using it, and really not-for-profits are no different than businesses. They just don't have shareholders. So today I have on the program with me Brian Wallenberg, and Brian is the president and founder of the Byron Saunders Foundation. He is a member of AmSpirit Business Connections, and we've gotten to really know one another over the years for a lot of reasons. One, he's an Ohio State fan, and I'm a Michigan fan, so that's always something we can needle each other about. But I've been very impressed with Brian and how he has built the Byron Saunders Foundation from, welcome to the program, Brian. I mean,
Thank you.
You started out, and I'll let you share about it, but you serve people meals at Thanksgiving, you feed people at Thanksgiving, and it started humble beginnings, 30, 40 people, and now it's thousands. I don't know how many you did in 2025, 5,000 plus.
We did 6,200 in total organization, about 7,500 maybe.
Wow.
We do have a couple other chapters. So yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah. And I can get into that, as far as like networking, but whenever you want to, but it's just like that's what's available. It really is. It's all about connecting and delegation and everybody can do something, and that's the whole,
Yeah, well, it's a beautiful thing because let's start here. How did this get going?
Okay,
your background, please.
So start the organization in 1997, but if you go even further before that, my mother was a school teacher with Groveport Schools, which is a suburb of Columbus. And she was a school teacher, but she knew this lady that did Adopt a Family for Groveport. And so the Adopt a Family for Groveport, what they would do is they would get the Groveport school teachers to give the names, and then would give the names to the adoptive family, and then they would serve them at Christmas. So I got to know that lady, and she said, I do Christmas when I do Thanksgiving. That's where the Thanksgiving idea came in. But before that, I've had a lot of experience of being shown those kind of things, and it just was always in my heart to do something. And so that's where the Thanksgiving idea came in. So in 1997, started with 50 families, became a nonprofit in 2002, and now we're up to 6,200 families. The Byron Saunders was a gentleman that I worked with in 1997 again till about mid-98. And I worked at Coca-Cola. He was my second shift supervisor. And you just never know how someone can affect your life. And he affected my life because every day I would come into work and he would always be positive. And that really struck a chord in me. And so in 99, he died in a car accident. And then 2002, when we became a nonprofit, named it after him. And so that's kind of where the name Byron Saunders came from. And, there was a lot of just, you would enjoy Frank, that he just loved to see Ohio State lose. So he always enjoyed seeing Ohio State lose, joke with me about that. And so anyway, so you just never know the effect that people have on your life and who you meet. And so today, 2025, 2026, you're looking at, what AmSpirit and other networking groups and what the philosophy of networking has done for Byron Saunders is I've learned that every individual has a gift. Every individual has a talent and what that is. It could be, look, I can, and you do a one-to-one, and that's one thing that we connect with. It's not just, and you get to know that person and human being, and so you get to know the person and get to know who they are and who are they meant to be, and that connection, and it becomes personal. And so I keep saying that is like everybody can volunteer, can volunteer monetarily, could volunteer with their kids, could be a dancer with one of our fundraisers. So just an example, there's 1,000 members in AmSpirit, Central Ohio, basically. Okay. So uh, everybody can do something, you know, and 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 that's and let them choose what that is. But we have other opportunities, but you know, those opportunities can be, like I said, so many things. And so, but you get connected with people, but that's what, and like during COVID, there's all kind of different ideas, and that's a perfect example of like you're doing Zoom one-to-ones, but the thing is, you get to know people for so many years, just through connection and that relationship. That's the word I want to use. Relationship. That's what makes it
Yeah.
all come. And what you put in is what you're going to get out. And it
Well,
doesn't have to be
let's
a
go.
sale.
Yeah, let's go back to you're starting this thing. You said on Thanksgiving, and how did you serve the first 50?
So the first 50 with the Kroger on Refugee, it's no longer there. The Kroger on Refugee and Hamilton Road, and that's now part of Meadow Ohio Collective actually
Right.
now. And so it used to be at Kmart and Kroger. I went there, bought the first 50, and bought all the fixings and everything. It was a lot of perishable stuff with turkeys and all that. Now it's a $20 gift card, but that was about $1,500 out of my own pocket back in those days.
Okay. So you
So that's just,
basically, okay. So the initial 50 were you.
yep, correct, yep.
Okay.
And
Uh,
and delivery. What was funny was when there was no GPS, so people would come from all. We had volunteers, but um, yeah, it was just like here's a here's a a map or whatever, and you go this way, this way. So very, it was very, um, it was really fun to remember back those days to now. There's no, yeah, people deliver a meal. It's not like just to get a cue card and just write directions on it.
so at what point did you decide, okay, it's going to be more than 50? It's going to be more than just me putting my own money into this thing. Was somebody else's
Um,
initiatives
uh,
or inspiration?
um, I just started to, um, um, as I became a nonprofit. So the first 4 or 5 years was just getting my feet wet, basically. Once I became a nonprofit, then I knew it was, I knew that businesses businesses wanted, they wanted that, or if you want to be serious about it, of course, that you need that the tax write-off and being a 501(c)(3), and so that's when I've learned all the processes of filling that paperwork out and getting it done, and and it just kept going and going, and getting to know the proper procedures and all that stuff. So, but as the years gone by, it went from like 50 to 65 to maybe 80 to almost 100 or something. But once I started networking, especially like in 2009, 10, 11, 12, that's when it started to really go up.
At what
And
point did you realize, okay, this networking thing? Was there a point where it's like, well, wait a minute here, I can really leverage my abilities?
so, so, there was, who introduced me to AmSpirit was Paul Wittenberg.
Right.
So Paul Wittenberg, and knew him from some other friends of mine, and he's the one that invited me to what networking was about. And once I understood, and I'll tell you that man, that's a very good question, because as I look back, when I learned what the one-to-one was, that was the change. That was the change. What I learned what the one-to-one was changed, because it changed from just a transaction or just a donation to a relationship. I got to
I
know
guess
them.
I'll elaborate on that if you would, for the people who aren't familiar with what a one-to-one is.
So a one-to-one is when so let's say um, um, it could be an attorney like Frank was before, or it could be a mortgage lender, it could be anything. It could just have coffee. But the thing is that let's say you meet somebody at a networking event and you get 50 cards. It's not about the transaction. It's about going to coffee with some of those and saying, hey, would you like to have coffee? And I'd like to know more about your business. How can I support you? But reaching out to them and saying, hey, how can I support you in getting that relationship started? And it could be something to where you you might can and usually things will happen. You'll get connected with them in ways that you never thought you would get connected to them. So just reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, would you like to do coffee? And let's see where this goes. See how if there's ways that I can support you. That's what networking and because without the one-to-one in person is what I suggest. Not that Zoom is bad, but one-to-one in person, just having that coffee and taking the time to build those relationships are everlasting, right? And so that's what taking the time. Even if say there's 10,000 realtors in Columbus, that's okay. Um, you each 10,000 of those realtors they're different in some way, and getting to know what they're about and who they are. And so everybody's is unique in their own way, whatever that is, right? And me and you like to joke about Michigan High State, but that just kind of gets joke around, and but connected no matter what, and so that's what makes it just so amazing, and so but you don't really know what someone's about. You can assume what they're about, but until you do the one-to-one,
Yeah.
you don't know, in my experience. And so that's what makes the relationship so you could be so it's everything, really is.
The Where I think the power of the Byron Saunders Foundation um, is there is so many different ways that people can help. A lot of times we'll talk to people who are involved with charities or raising money for charities, and I would say it's a big dollar amount. That's a relative term, but whatever the ask is at a point where people have to pause and think, okay, can I afford this? And with the Byron Saunders Foundation, it could be as simple as putting a box at your place of business and collecting, you know, non-perishables.
Yeah.
Um,
So there could be things we have a lot of things that fall in the gap sometimes. Sometimes we might have corn or something that's overabundance. And so people are like, what do you need? Okay. It can be last minute. I can say, look, we need gift cards, $20 gift cards, or we need more cranberry sauce, canned fruit. Cranberry sauce, canned fruit are a little bit more expensive than a can of corn or green beans. So yeah, if you had 200 people that donated a can, it's 200 extra cans, so, or like even I will say this, even like, let's say we have somebody that's a member of, this is the real strong part of relationship. So let's say I have a member that's whatever in AmSpirit, but what happens is their significant other, husband, wife, whatever, they work at another job and they could do one at their job, or donate or get us into a relationship with another person. So you're just the more people you connect with in relationship, it just multiplies. And so a lot of the stuff that's missing, if you know what's missing, they can fill in the gaps. So I always say in networking, Frank, I'm not good at many things. I'm not really, so but the point being is anything that I need, I can find in networking. I can find in AmSpirit. I can find in other other networking connections, and so with that, it's like it's really cool, and so all the people that I've met through AmSpirit and other networking is, really been amazing to see people be who they are and then maybe ask to be part of the organization or what, however that might be. So it's yeah.
why would you say you're not a good networker? I think you're
Well,
amazing.
no, I'm saying that I am a good networker, but there's a lot of things that I'm not good at. And so
Okay,
the things is that the things that I might not be as good at,
gotcha.
I can find whatever that is and
Yeah.
complete that. So I'm, handy? No, definitely not handy, right? So we've got so many, so many opportunities, so many connections in AmSpirit and other organizations to where they can fill that need. And that's the power of networking. So, and brings credibility to yourself because you're identifying the connecting somebody else,
Well, and I mean that's you've put together a board through
Yep,
networking, and that networking has board that board has networks. Each of those people
yep,
have networks. Um, I see people who have, and I don't even know all the different spokes and tentacles of the Byron Saunders Foundation, just things that I'm aware of. The Town Center chapter of AmSpirit does their golf outing every year. They're very proud of that golf outing. Um, they raise $5,000, $10,000. I guess it varies year to
yep.
year. That's not nothing. Um,
And that's one
um,
chapter. And that's
it,
one. So you figure you got how many chapters in Central Ohio? 45, 50. And they all don't have to do Byron Saunders, correct? And
yeah,
that's great. But my point is that that's just one chapter of AmSpirit that does that, or that organizes that. And so and to see what the possibility is of what the other chapters. We had somebody from the Canton chapter. They
Hall of Fame, yeah, Hall of Fame
Yeah,
chapter, yeah,
yep, Hall of Fame. They did something. And so I don't know who I am, but I just need to go visit them and say, hey, thank you, gratitude. That changes. So they see me in person, right? So that might be something I'm definitely going to do, when the weather gets better or whatever. So, you know, that's something that gratitude that shows people too, So, but again, that's just a chapter that they didn't know who I was, and they knew
yeah.
that we were looking for more gift cards, and they gave gift cards, So those are things that yeah, that's really yeah, it's just amazing.
You have the Dances with Stars.
Yes.
Who put that together?
So that was from a person from we had on our board. This is I don't know how many years, maybe 7, 8 years ago now. It
Yeah.
seems like it's been just a couple, but there was a lady on our board, and a she was down in she's from Portsmouth area, but she was down in that area, and she's like the Red Cross does a dance with the Columbus Star, dance with a stars, and they do a really good. And so once we had it 7, 8 years ago, it's just been it never gets old. It's been just an amazing. So we get like one of them our members from AmSpirit was Scott Martin. He was I'll just leave it at that. He was one of the Dance with the Stars. And so um so but so we have like 8 or 9 couples, and each one each one does fundraises and does a dance for about 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks. And then on the that day of the event is when we have about 500 people and at Villa Milano. And so yeah, whatever they fundraise and dance, and it's just really great. But it really is something that they'll never forget. It does a lot for the inside too, to where just somebody that might have been away from dancing for a long time, competitive when they were younger, and bring back that, you know, competitiveness or just, so it's really fun to see people, um, um, yeah, we're feeding thousands of families, but also it's a great, the need is big and need a lot of fundraising, but it's also good to see people feel that passion again inside.
Now, you mentioned early on that you have I mean, there are
Yes.
AmSpirit chapters, but Byron Saunders has its
Yes.
own, what you guys call chapters. And can you
Yep.
describe that?
Chapter.
Perhaps there are people out there that would want to start a Byron Saunders. You're not limited to Ohio. You're not limited to Columbus, not limited to Ohio. You're not limited to the United States, really.
Yeah. So we have one in Union County, we have Delaware County, um, um, Richland County, Knox County,
Okay.
and so those are and those are what we have right now, and yeah, we're doing pretty good, and so we have 3 events for next year too. Should be a golf outing in May, and then a golf outing in September probably. Uh, with the Town Center chapter golf outing, and then Dance with the Stars will be, uh, I think August 8th maybe, or August something like that. So, um, but but one of the golf outings is that it's in Delaware County too, but first one, but that helps the Delaware County chapter too. So it's a matter of connecting and trying to raise more funds, um, and we're doing really good. So last year we did 6,200 meals. Our goal was been the last couple of years 7,000 meals. It's just a matter of we need to have some way a fourth fundraiser, or some other ways to raise maybe some more. But we're on our way, on our on the right track, and we did this year. We donation wise for non-perishables was a lot more than even last year. So,
Right.
which is great. It's just a matter of things are really tight right now, but it's just a matter of people just did amazing this year.
If somebody wants to start a chapter in their locale, you help them. Is there kind of a blueprint, a game plan that you walk them through?
Yes, yeah. So right now we're kind of on hold on that because we want to make sure that we are setting themselves up for success as far as
Mm-hmm.
that. We're still getting our details all organized. So, but that's something we definitely can talk about in the future. But yeah, I mean, especially like it's just a matter of, yeah, we all connect and collaborate, but the Knox County chapter, they've been a chapter since 2003, a
Right.
long time. A lot of people didn't know that, but um, the Union County, it's been, man, 5, 6 years. Delaware maybe 7, 8. So it's um um Richland maybe 4 or 5. So a 3 maybe. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely it started when we started doing chapters. It was a lot at first, right? Okay,
Yeah.
but sometimes, and as you know, I'm sure you got to make sure that you're doing it correctly, not
Yeah.
just too many. So that's where it kind of had to backtrack just a little bit and trying to comprehend. Look, what does this look like in the future? So that's
Yeah.
that's where we're at with that right now.
Somebody wants to help out. Somebody wants to donate. How do they get a hold of you, Brian?
Um, ByronSaundersFoundation.org is the best.
Okay.
But also they can email me, Brian at theByronSaundersFoundation.org. So
Okay.
Brian at theByronSaundersFoundation.org. And also my number is 614-554-0816. And people could, and if I don't answer and you leave a message, I'll definitely get back to you.
Sounds great. I appreciate you making the time today. I appreciate all you do. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Appreciate
hope
you.
Get to 7,000 people.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it. And go hail to the non-victors.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AmSpirit.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.